Chaos is a ladder. Sounds powerful, right? Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. It's nice to have you here today. Today we'll be discussing something that often pops up when I'm talking to friends. I'm talking to friends or having conversation about certain things that is happening in their life, in the society. And I realized that this theory of chaos and then my personal ideology or my personal idea about chaos pops up quite often, right? So I want to discuss that today. When you hear chaos is a ladder, it sounds powerful, and it truly is. I first heard it in Game of Thrones. For those of you who are fans of Game of Thrones like me, I'm such a fan of Game of Thrones that I refuse to watch the last episode. And my reason is quite simple. I would rather hold the very dear memory of when things were good, when the storyline was okay, than to watch that nonsense I heard they did in the last episode. I wouldn't do it. I don't want to watch it. So I still haven't watched the last episode, and I am glad. Because once I saw reviews online and I heard people say that they shat on it, nah, I am not watching that. But let's get back to the gist of it. In a scene, Littlefinger talks to Lord Varys, and then he tells Lord Varys tells Littlefinger that chaos is a pit. And Littlefinger says to him, chaos is not a pit, it is, a ladder. And it's true, right?
Chaos is a
because
ladder.
Chaos in itself is confusion and disorder. And when we are faced with confusion and disorder, we tend to get sucked into it. Hence why Lord Varys will call it a pit. However, for some people, chaos is a ladder. You can climb out of it, and oftentimes you can climb out of it into something greater. And I would explain. In our day-to-day life, right, chaos could be something as unattached as inflation, right? You're in Nigeria, for example, and the price of Gari is 15 naira in the market, and all of a sudden you go to the market and it has been a disorder to what you know as normal, and now Gari is 150. Chaos, right? In your personal life, it could be that there is chaos in a relationship, or and by relationship I just don't mean man and woman dating each other. It could be friendship, it could be family. It's just something out of order, something causing confusion, right? And oftentimes we get sucked into it, we get overwhelmed by it. But have you actually thought about how you can climb out of it, or how you can use that to, become better? Because it is possible to climb chaos. So in a situation where Gari is now 150 in the market, can you start producing something that is an alternative to Gari that will cost less than 150? The country it's like, let's even go to the Bible and talk about Joseph, right? There was famine in the land. And while there was famine in the land, that chaos that was happening was Joseph's ladder to being prime minister. Because it preferred solution, or brought solution to the issue that was happening. It gave them the strategy to be able to go through that 7 years of famine, and everybody will still have a lot to eat. That is him using the chaos as a ladder. I don't know if you're getting. So chaos can be your ladder out of confusion. But moving away from what Littlefinger said in Game of Thrones as chaos being a ladder, I personally think that people end up in the pit of chaos because they forget what chaos looks like. And that's my own saying. My own saying is people often forget what chaos looks like, and that's why chaos is a pit, or can be a pit for them. I would explain. People think that chaos is that moment where things stop going the way they should, when things are disorderly, when things are confusing, when everything is just, your relationship has ended and the person has broken your heart, and, you're just, that's the beginning of chaos. That's when chaos starts. But I beg to differ. Chaos doesn't start then. And looking at chaos from this perspective has totally changed how I relate to people. It has totally changed how I even view the world in a way. And I'll tell you what my perspective is. I believe that chaos often starts well-dressed. Chaos starts, well packaged. When you watch a movie, for example, and you see this bad guy or even a good guy, right? And they send him this package, very beautiful package, red ribbon and everything. And then he opens it and it's somebody's finger or somebody's head. I think that's what chaos is, right? Sometimes it comes in beautiful boxes. And because you refuse to identify chaos when it comes in a beautiful box, we end up getting the severed head or the finger. I'll explain, right? I like to use this example, not because I am it has nothing to do with maybe I have a problem with men or anything, but I like to use this example of when you have a man and a woman in a relationship, right? And then the man in the relationship sides a very beautiful woman at work. And he appreciates her beauty. I mean, she's beautiful. That's not a problem. And they start to talk. And they're not just in a relationship, let's even say marriage, right? And he and this other lady he meets at work start to talk, they start to laugh. And you notice he really does enjoy our company, which in itself is not necessarily bad, right? And they start talking and they start gisting and spending time together at work. And it starts, talking to her and hiding. Maybe the wife is coming into the room and he quickly keeps his phone under the pillow, stuff like that. And the thing grows into some form of relationship at work and it starts to cheat. And then later the wife finds out and, it causes problem. And then the wife leaves him and the marriage is destroyed and the kids. It's just bad. For some people, they see that and then it's like, oh my God, the chaos happened when things went bad. The wife found out. That is when the chaos started, when the wife found out and then she got angry and then she's no longer talking to the husband. But to me, I believe the chaos started when he noticed that he was talking a lot more to this person and, smiling a lot more and enjoying the company. And then rather than putting a stop to it, he just was enjoying the feel. So oftentimes I believe that people do recognize chaos before it starts. They recognize the signs of it, but they are enjoying something. They are enjoying the feeling. He was enjoying the feeling he was getting from that lady at the time, the laughter, the smiles, and how he probably isn't getting exactly the same at home or is getting exactly the same, but just a little bit different, just an extra spice to life. Oftentimes, people see the signs and then choose to ignore it. And then they begin to cry when things explode in their face. But it didn't start when things exploded in your face. It started in that moment where you were laughing and smiling and shining your teeth. I don't know if you get it. So how I apply this in my personal life is oftentimes when somebody starts relating with me, for example, or starts talking to me, and I can see the signs of what you're bringing or the kind of person you are. I totally avoid it by just avoiding you, right? Or you started talking in a certain direction, and I know this direction you're going to is just going to lead to destruction. I start to avoid it from the beginning. Now, it's not to say that everything is the same, everybody is the same, but deep down that some things happen in patterns. Deep down when something is just not going right. It hasn't gone far right? It hasn't gone far left. It hasn't gone too far off the target. But you can already see it shifting. But because you're enjoying the moment, and I will just enjoy this man and I'll not leave it, or just do this and I'll not leave it. Oftentimes, it doesn't work that way. And then you end up finding yourself in situations that is just disastrous. I see people do it all the time because of short-term gains or enjoyments. This thing is bad. This thing could explode in your face. Or somebody's stealing from this boss at work, but I will just take small. They will not know. I will just, I'll do it for a short time. They will not know. Then you get caught. And it's like, oh, the chaos happened when you got caught. It didn't happen when you got caught. It happened when you started and you knew that what you were doing was wrong. But because you're enjoying something or benefiting something, it was okay, right? I think everybody holds it to themselves to identify chaos before it sets in. Yes, chaos is a ladder to which you can use to, when something is happening or things are not going as they should, you can find your way through it and even come out better. That's one aspect of chaos, right? Another aspect of chaos is how people often dig a pit for themselves. It's a pit when you just do the wrong things or you sight it from afar and refuse to do anything about it. So in my opinion, while chaos is a ladder, it can also be a pit, especially when it's one you dig for yourself. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that with you today and, put it to you that sometimes you do recognize it. You recognize when chaos is in a beautiful dress, short gown, big hips, or when it's in six packs, or when it is in small short-term gains, and then you refuse to do something about it. You refuse to avoid it. And then it happens and it becomes something that swallows you up. So today, look around your life and then try to identify those things that are prone to causing issues for you later and avoid it. I enjoy peace in many areas of my life, and it's because I avoid chaos as much as I can. Right? Somebody comes up to me and tries to act funny. I identify it. I see how it's problematic. It might look like something I will enjoy right now, but I can see that over time it might become a problem. And because of that, I sacrifice that short-term enjoyment I might have had for the betterment of my life and for my peace and my sanity. So thanks for joining in today. Have a lovely day, have a lovely week, and I hope to see you soon. Bye, guys.